Welcome to Season 2 of the NGO Whisperer Show. My name is Carolyne Opinde. I am the founder of the NGO Whisperer. We are a consulting business that helps nonprofits raise funds so they can successfully impact people's lives. Joining us today from New York in the United States of America is Mary Ehrsam. Mary is the President of Partnerships at Operation Hope. Operation Hope is a for-purpose organization working to disrupt poverty and empower inclusion for low and moderate income youth and adults in the United States and around the world. Mary, it's such an honor to have you today. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Carolyne. It's lovely to be here as well. Thrilled to see you.
Thank you so much for making time amidst the busy schedules that you have, providing services and intervention that is much needed right now during this COVID-19 time. So taking us into our topic for today, which is financial disaster recovery, services that are offered for individuals during COVID-19 time by Operation Hope. I know you have a model. It's called Hope Inside. It is an award-winning model of community uplift. In view of that, share with us, how do you as an organization commit to poverty alleviation and empowerment of middle and low income youths and adults around the world? It is such a lofty goal. Tell us, how do you do that?
It is a lofty goal, but you and I both know that the need is great. So we set our mission in sight of making sure that we can address, a holistic problem with a holistic solution in place. And for the last 28 years, the way that we have done that is truly through collaborations and through partnerships. We know that as one organization, we have, in our capacity, through our program delivery, through our content, through our curriculum, more so what we share is that vision of empowerment, uplift, and hope. But the true way to work to drive our mission to alleviate poverty is through partnerships with the private sector, with the public sector, and with other NGOs that have similar missions that are addressing needs of the populations we're serving. So the strength in delivery has been on the foundation of these relationships and these partnerships throughout the United States. And even our partnerships in the United States with certain corporations, we've then been able to take them to other parts of the world, South Africa and the Middle East in particular. So that's what really drives it forward.
Wonderful. Indeed, when you have a lofty goal such as poverty eradication and empowerment of communities, you cannot do it by yourself. Partnership is key. And what I love about the model is it is a three-part model where you have the civil society, the private sector, and the governments in the countries that you work in. So I know you have done a lot of work. What is the impact of your work in the United States and around the world?
As you shared, we are very, very focused, and this has increased over time on data and analytics, and really looking at how we can empirically validate the efficacy of our work every day with our partnerships and with an amazing, wonderful supporters like yourself, and the word that you spread and the inspiration that you give to other NGOs, including myself, every day to make a difference. And we prove that we are making this difference through not just looking at outputs and the number of people that we serve, but really looking at outcomes and what is the longitudinal impact of what we're doing. So we've always done measurements, we've always done evaluations, we've outsourced. But at the end of 2017, we established what's called the Hope Research and Impact Institute. And it's a body of economists that work full-time for Operation Hope. Our leader is a PhD in econometrics, and we collect data on a secure and confidential base, and then we look at what happens. So those that are coming into our programming, in the U.S., most your sort of your financial status can be defined by your credit score and your ability to maintain and sustain credit. So, and that helps people buy houses, it starts businesses, it even helps get jobs at times. So we help individuals raise credit scores, we help people reduce debt, we help individuals build a savings account, and we really work to then look at what happens next. They increase their savings, they reduce their debt, were they able to buy a home and build wealth, no matter what their financial situation is. And we measure these on an ongoing basis. We produce reports and different analytics, and it also helps us sort of guide what we want to do more of and the types of programs that we want to offer. So if we see a growing demand for individuals dealing with housing issues, we want to help increase our housing programs, and we're seeing a lot more of small businesses that are struggling that we can help launch, grow, and, in the case of where we are in the world right now, help them survive and rebuild.
Speaking of that, thank you so much for bringing out the whole idea of measuring impact in a way that shows growth over time, as opposed to just looking at numbers of people who are benefiting from the project. I really love that. There's actually a show that we did, and one of our contributors to the NGO Whisperer magazine, and now a guest, and he will be a regular guest on the NGO Whisperer show. He talked about effective ways of measuring impact without breaking the bank. So what I love about your model is you are measuring impact longitudinally. And for people who do not understand that, because not everyone is an impact or research specialist, what does that mean?
And when I say it, we have a group of economists. We still have a lean team. As you said, it's incredibly important to make sure that we are measuring impact, but also doing it in a way that's efficient, that utilizes resources to the best of their ability. So our team of individuals who, again, are data scientists, and they also focus on management of quality control as well as research. So all of these things come together, and they work directly on the training of our team members too. So knowing that every day, if we're working to drive the productivity, right, and make sure everyone is operating at full efficiency and empowering those that we're working with, we need to make sure that that's in sync with the goals that we want to achieve and the metrics we want to achieve. So we have set systems and processes in place. We have, a affordable but very efficient measurement tool that all of our data is entered into. It's all anonymized, it's all confidential, it's all secure. So then we can produce reports and look at these variables that I mentioned over time, what's happening to those that we're serving. And again, as we've, starting the conversation, we've set very big goals, and we want to, working in collaboration with other partners, but we do set very specific, broad reaching metrics to get to that goal. It's one individual at a time. It's one intervention or education tool that we'll implement at a time. And then again and again and again, it builds up. And then, we've taken now 4.2 million individuals through our programs.
Wow. 4.2 million individuals have benefited from Hope Inside award-winning model that is uplifting communities, eradicating poverty around the world. And that contributes directly to sustainable development goals, not just one of them, but contributes to a number of them. When I think of it, I think of Sustainable Development Goal number 1 on poverty eradication. I think of Sustainable Development number 2, number 3, and I also believe you directly contribute to Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is very close to my heart, which is equality, because we know for sure that homes where men and women are empowered, there is less of gender-based violence, and inequalities that happen in the communities, because it's the upliftment of both. What I also love about your model is a statement that I found on your website. It says, at Hope, we offer a hand up and not a hand out. What does that mean?
There are some organizations that we've learned that from as well. And I think the general theme that what we've implemented internally and what we've learned is that, you know, and they often say if you teach a man or a woman to, if you give a man or a woman a fish, they have a fish. If you teach them how to fish, then they can fish for a lifetime and feed their family. Mm-hmm. So with our educational tools, instead of someone that's in financial trouble, they're in need of funding, they're in need of money. But instead of just saying, okay, we're going to grant you money, we're going to loan you money, we make sure that they are prepared for, to manage that funding, to take control, and to really build a sustainable future. So we want to help individuals and families and small businesses take that next step, to learn as they receive, so that they are uplifted and that they are empowered, and it's sustainable and measurable. And that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, as we said, it's not about education, it's not about the tools and resources we provide, but it's helping someone live a life of dignity as they define, you know, and we help achieve that through provision of financial dignity programs. So that's part of the uplift. That's part of the achievement, you know, as you shared, in alignment with many of the goals you said, but it is about the equity comes from inclusion. In our case, it's financial inclusion, knowing that no matter what your goal and dream is and what you're striving for, what you're challenged with, that you have to be able to access, you have to have, you know, equitable distribution of wealth, but you have to educate in order to do that. You have to help individuals start and launch businesses. You have to help them develop a skill set for a job that they can achieve, or learn how to save. Even if they're in a very difficult socioeconomic position, we can teach individuals even to save, you know, in the US, $5, $10, and it adds up. And then you see, which turns into the inclusion and the equity and the uplift, is someone is excited, they feel empowered that they can do this. So that's part of the, you know, the hand up is helping individuals lift themselves up and stay there.
Mary, thank you so much for sharing the impact that you are making and how the Hope Inside model is impacting lives of people. Now, going to the issue that we are facing now around the world, the COVID-19 pandemic. We know that New York is one of the states that has been hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. My question to you today is, what is Hope doing to support people in New York and across the United States of America?
Well, as we spoke about earlier, Hope is focused in 3 distinct areas. We help youth with what we call learning the language of money, and we help youth with career pathways. You know, through our Hope Inside model, we work with adults and help them uplift themselves out of poverty and into a life of dignity. And our 3rd division started 4 days after 9/11, when days after you had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men and women that became the sole breadwinner of their household. So we set a path forward to help families and small businesses avoid a financial or economic tragedy 6 months after a natural or an unnatural disaster. So a year after, we then we responded to Hurricane Katrina at that point in New Orleans, and we scaled the program very quickly. We're working with the American Red Cross, with the Department of Homeland Security, and helped individuals whose homes were destroyed, whose businesses were destroyed. You know, how do you help them right away regain their health, their safety, and in that case, stabilize financially? And then how do you coach them along the way to help rebuild their life? So we, since that time, over 16 years, have responded to every single natural disaster in the US, from hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, and again, helping families, helping small businesses. In 2008, we launched what was called the Mortgage Crisis Hotline for families that were suffering through the mortgage crisis at that time and the recession. But when COVID-19 hit, and then and on March 13th, when it was declared a national disaster in the United States, we set a plan in place for mass mobilization of our work and of this division. We have 152 locations throughout the United States, and within 4 days, and they're all working on the ground, providing one-on-one coaching and counseling and workshops. Within 4 days, we transitioned the entire network to a virtual platform so that we had all of our financial well-being coaches that could continue educating and making sure that those they're already working with are stable and their houses are okay, and they're if they've had an income disruption, that they're on their feet. But we also set up a platform where individuals can log into our website, and they can also call a toll-free number and connect with a financial well-being coach. So we've set a path forward, and it's scaled extremely quickly. So families that have had income disruptions, and you see the statistics on the news of the millions and millions of individuals that are unemployed, underemployed, they've been furloughed temporarily, or their spouse may have lost their job, or they were, a driver for a car company and they're not driving anymore. All of the businesses that have been impacted, and then all of the small businesses that have had to close, from the restaurants to the barbershops to, small and medium income enterprises that are struggling, and they have worked to apply for the CARES Act programs in the US, and what's called the PPP program, the Payroll Protection Plan, and just didn't even know where to start or how to access it, and filling out the paperwork while under extreme duress and stress, and leading in the US, a lot of people, just their spirits are hurt. They're really anxious, and it's been a tough time. So our coaches work with them hand in hand to get through that process. So we've set up a call center. We've increased the number of our virtual coach locations across the US. We're in the process of raising $7 million to fund the first phase of what we're doing. From private sector and from public sector, we're partnering with other nonprofits and NGOs to reach their constituents and making sure that we're getting the word out. So within 1 month and 1 week, we had delivered 41,000 financial coaching services to businesses and to adults. We know we're going to get to over 200,000 within the next 4 months, and it will just continue to increase from there. And this is a long-term strategy. The impact of the economy in the US, we still have an extreme health risk, as we know. And that is, the question of whether the businesses are going to reopen and schools are going to reopen. That is a constant dialogue, as you will see on the news. So that's the uncertainty of which way we're going. We're working to navigate through that as well. And we're working with the federal government on policies and procedures and ways to make sure that individuals are in a position where they can rebuild their lives. And we have a lot of work to do. It's our primary driving factor right now.
Well done. A hand clap to you guys. I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
What I love about your model is that it is replicable, and it is scalable, and it is effective. And what you have shared with us, I see a very comprehensive model that can be adapted, not just across the United States, but around the world. Which takes us to the next question. What plans do you have to replicate this model that you're using right now in the US across the world in the 500 affiliate organizations and offices that you have around the world?
So the everything that I've described, as we said, we wanted in this first phase to start with a US-based program that could reach all 50 states in the US. And simply because this is where our greatest ecosystem is, this is where our headquarters and our majority of the partners that we work with have an interest in investment in the US. although many of the partners we're working with are interested in expanding. And as you know, our work for South Africa, for example, there's a company that's very interested in helping with small businesses that are impacted in South Africa. And in many ways, we serve as a connector between our partners that have a global footprint and what the needs may be in different areas. We are also working with many companies that are international in scope and working with their employees directly. So we have partnerships with Delta Airlines, with Hyatt Hotels, and some other companies that have been just hit the hardest in the hospitality and travel industry. And we're working directly with their employees. So we're starting, in the United States, but then we're looking at other geographies that are important to them as well. So we want to make sure that, as you talked about earlier, best practices, that we're driving impact, that as we're scaling, that we have the right people in place, the right tools in place, and the right measurement systems and processes in place so that we can scale properly and that we are, we're helping people. We're truly helping people in the short and the long term.
Wonderful. As we draw to the end of this episode today, I would like you to share with people how they can be part of this. So first and foremost, individuals who are in the United States during this first phase of your emergency response, COVID-19 response program, how can they get help? And secondly, organizations, corporate organizations, nonprofits who want to learn from you, how can they get in touch with you, or where can they go to get this information?
Well, we've worked to really streamline it and keep it easy. So individuals that are in need of financial coaching, they need help, they can go directly to operationhope.org. And that is our website. And you'll see on the homepage, we have added in direct links to where individuals can click to be connected with the financial well-being coach. And they will go into, as I mentioned, we streamline it where they go into a portal and within 24 hours, they'll get contacted. And whether they're a small business, whether there's someone that's looking for help with payment deferrals and coaching, or, someone that may have, a myriad of different issues, housing issues with their landlords, with their lenders. We have coaches that specialize and they'll be connected. So operationhope.org. And then also we have opportunities for private sector partners and public sector partners to come on board. Many partners are coming on board and sponsoring one of our virtual coach locations, so that will be able to help us scale our work. Many are coming on board to sponsor all of the activity and make sure that the capacity of our organization is able to grow, our measurement impact, our team members, our leadership team. And we have groups that are coming on board with to help publicize and get the word out, from some of the national sports leagues to other different public service announcements, and really helping us make sure that we're reaching individuals where they are. And I'll give you an example of our chairman was on one of the morning news shows with Gayle King. That was a perfect way to get the news out, and also the support from the media and helping people. We received so many calls. People even got connected to my cell phone number, and I received calls from individuals living far away from New York City, but still in trouble and still needing help. I received FaceTime calls in the evening from individuals needing help. So there is we make sure that those that get involved with us, that they see the difference that they're making, that they hear the stories behind what we're doing. So with our, those that want to get engaged, you can, in the second phase of what we're doing, we're going to be utilizing volunteers to support the work that our coaches are doing. So we will have volunteers primarily from the financial services sector that will come on board with their corporation so they can help provide some financial coaching. And again, we're helping with both, as we talked about earlier, all of our partners and everyone involved, making sure that we're driving numbers and impact, but we're really helping people at the end of the day. So those that want to get engaged can go to operationhope.org. you can get in touch with me directly, and I'll make sure that, from a partnership standpoint, that I can guide you in a way. Again, as we've talked about in the past, Caroline, all of our partnerships meet the objectives of our sponsors. It has to be, that's how you sustain the partnership. So we work with each of our partners now to say, what is important to you during this time? Who do you want to help, and how can we help you help them? And so going to our website, if you need help or if you want to partner, you can get in touch directly with me, and we'll take it from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on our show today. And also thank you for making time to be on the NGO Whisperer magazine. For those who may not know, Mary was on the cover of the NGO Whisperer magazine, issue 4. Right now we are about to release issue 5. So if you go to our website, you will also be able to read her article. She was the cover girl for our magazine, and we are very proud to have had her on our cover. We are honored and truly, truly humbled by you making time to come to our show and to partner with us in this endeavor. Ladies and gentlemen, what I have learned today is when you are responding to a pandemic or emergency situation such as COVID-19, it is very important to provide comprehensive support to the people, not just in the short term, but in the long term. And the award-winning model that Hope Inside is representing or giving us today is an example of what organizations around the world should emulate. I highly recommend going to their website to find out how is it that they are so successful in doing this and learning from them. Thank you so much, Mary, for coming over to our show. We are honored.
I cannot thank you enough. Your leadership and your focus and your dedication, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is helping to empower millions and millions of individuals. And I am honored. I was honored to be in the magazine. I'm honored to be with you today. And I look forward to continuing to work with you and support you. And I just, I can't say enough about you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That is very humbling. Thank you. We are honored too. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Financial disaster recovery services for individuals during COVID-19 pandemic. The services are being offered right now by Hope in the United States of America. And all you have to do is go to their website, and we'll provide all the details for you to get support, for you to be directed to financial services that will help you not just survive COVID-19 pandemic, but thrive in the long term. As we come to the end of the show, we invite you to subscribe to our show on YouTube, the NGO Whisperer channel. Thank you so much. It's all about connecting people, raising funds, and impacting lives.